Oh, yeah! You know what time it is. That's right, it's time for the Eddie and Webby podcast! Yo, I'ma bust out some theme song action for you. Check it out. The Eddie and Webby Show is the place to be. They're talking about beer and pickleball and technology. So if you didn't know, now you know. 'Cause it's time for the Eddie and Webby Show.
On today's episode, Eddie and Webby go horseback riding. This is the Eddie and Webby podcast.
Podcast time it is. Subscribe, you will. Yes. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 54th podcast.
Oh, yeah, episode number 54, and we have a ton of great content for you guys. You are not going to want to miss any bit of it, especially towards the end of the show. We're going to have a special message from Maggie Remynse, and we're going to be debuting part 2 of my one-on-one training with Daniel J Howard, just to name a couple things.
Wow, that's a lot of good content. In addition to that, we're going to be having an amazing guest. I'm super excited to be able to bring him on. Guys, remember, we are live. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And we are live on Twitch. That's right. And this is meant to be interactive. So if you have questions, comments, anything at all, go ahead and throw them in any of those social media platforms. Right, Webby?
Yes, bring them our way, and we will ask as many questions and read as many comments as we possibly can.
That's right. And guess what else, Webby?
What?
Today's show is brought to you by us. That's right. We're talking about the Eddie and Webby store, where you can buy shirts. You can buy phone cases. What else can you buy there? Leggings. Anything. What am I? Oh, hoodies. There's so many things.
Yeah, there's even, I think, like towels. I mean,
Yeah.
if you name it, it might be there. It might not be there, but if you name almost anything, there's a good chance it could be there, possibly.
That's right. Are you wearing any of the amazing apparel that we sell from that store right now, Webby?
I'm kind of just wearing this boring zip up, but wait a second. If I unzip the zip up, there's something underneath it. A Pickleball for Life t-shirt.
Heyo! Are you wearing a zip up because it's like 20 degrees and you have 8 feet of snow outside right now?
Pretty much, yeah. It was horrible here in Michigan today. Horrible.
Well, we're not going to depress you with that. But what I am going to enlighten you with is the fact that if you go to eddieandwebby.com/store, you can find all of this amazing apparel that we're talking about. And if you use coupon code PICKLE10, you can get 10% off your order. We hope you check it out.
Nice. That's very nice.
Yes, it is. You know what else is nice?
What's that?
Our podcast and the guests we're about to bring on. But before we do that, Webby, what's going on in Twitter?
Ah, yes, Twitter. Good old reliable Twitter. There's never an end to the amazing comments that happen on the Twitter sphere. So let me go ahead and pull up Twitter and see what we got going here. Here is a comment from Hall Kogan. They say, at Eddie and Webby, that was a great episode of the podcast with Tyler Leung. He seems like a pretty cool dude, and I really enjoy watching him play pickleball. Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Hall
I agree.
Kogan, thank you.
I agree with that. He was a cool dude, and he is an awesome pickleball player, and I thoroughly enjoy watching him play as well.
Yes.
All right, let's do another comment here on Twitter. Here's one from Bruised Willis. He says, Eddie and Webby, I really like watching your tournament vlogs. I am a very low-skilled player, so it makes me feel much better about myself when watching you guys do so badly. Thanks.
Ouch. Bruised.
No.
Bruised Willis.
No,
that hurts.
Thank you, Bruised, for that very uplifting comment there. We appreciate it.
Yep.
How about one more? Should I read one more comment on Twitter?
I think we should.
All right. Here's one from SpongeBob Barker. Eddie and Webby, I love the new hip-hop song parodies. Please keep them coming. Well, nice.
I agree.
Thank you, SpongeBob Barker. Yeah, we actually just recently released our newest pickleball music mashup video, and it is hip-hop themed.
That's right. You guys should go and check it out. And while you're there, you should go ahead and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We appreciate any subscribers, and all it does is help our content get out there to even wider of an audience. So make sure you subscribe.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There's one more thing I want to do, Webby, before we bring on
What's
our
that?
special guest for the evening. We actually
What is that?
have a video from some of our friends. You want to talk about this video here, or should I play it? What do you think?
Yeah, this is a very special video, and it's from when Eddie and I had a chance to hang out with our good friends from Wolverine Pickleball recently. They've been working extremely hard to bring great pickleball opportunities to Southeast Michigan. And without further ado, I say we should go ahead and play this video where they tell us all about a brand new pickleball facility that's in the works.
Heyo.
Like, you see that up there? That is crazy.
Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and we're here with some of our friends from Wolverine Pickleball.
That's right.
Hi, I'm Christy Howden, one of the co-owners of Wolverine Pickleball.
And I'm Leslie White, and I'm one of the co-owners of Wolverine Pickleball. So,
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And I hear you guys have some pretty big news that you want to share with us today.
we
Yes.
do.
We've been working hard and planning, and we finally can announce that we're building a pickleball facility in the Ann Arbor area.
Oh,
And the
that would
big
be awesome.
news is that we're going to be 16 indoor courts.
16?
Yes.
16.
That's incredible.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
Yep, we're hoping to be the destination for pickleball up in Michigan.
Very nice.
Our facility will have 2 buildings. One will have 10 indoor courts, and one will have 6 courts.
And they will have sliding garage doors that open up so that it's like being outside, but you have a covered roof. So it's protected from the elements, but you get that outdoor crosswinds and the warm weather, and it can be pouring rain outside and we can be enjoying pickleball inside.
Nice.
So,
How great is that you're going to have the best of both worlds, being able to play indoors where you're protected from the elements, but also with the big doors like that to kind of give you the outdoor feel as well.
right,
Absolutely,
right.
that's what we're thinking. Especially being up in Michigan, the weather's unpredictable. We had a really rainy spring. We weren't able to play on the courts that much, so this will be a great addition. And then the best part, between the 2 buildings, we'll have a beer garden area so that you can peek in through the garage doors and watch some of your friends play, or be able to jump on the court very easily, along with having some, backyard games. We'll have the cornhole, we'll have some fire pits there, so it'll be the place to hang out when you're done playing pickleball, to unwind with a beer, because we'll have a full bar.
Oh,
and
man.
a kitchen, so we'll have good food too.
I love it.
Yeah, you're talking our language here. We've been
Yeah.
trying to combine craft beer and pickleball as much as possible, and obviously it's a match made in heaven like we see here.
Yes.
We'll be running all kinds of programs like mixers and tournaments and leagues and clinics and learn to play.
Yep, with lots of open play. The courts will be skill rated, so people can jump on and play nice, evenly matched games. We'll also have private court time.
Yep.
So it'll be great for people coming in to visit. They can easily stop in and get a game.
Right off I-94, so it's easy access between Baker and Zeeb. So excellent location to get right off the highway, and you're there in 5 minutes.
Very
So-
cool. I see you're holding something. What do we got here?
Well, we have a little preview of the floor plan, so people can check that out. And we have a little bit more of the outdoor building. So it looks like you could drive up to it today,
Wow.
but in a few more months.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that looks nice.
And the beer garden is located right in between the 2 buildings, the 6 and the 10 court building there. So
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was sold at beer garden.
Yeah, pickleball and beer garden. Yeah, where do we sign up, right?
Yeah.
So is there a way that people can follow you guys through the progress of this?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, wolverinepickleball.com, sign up for our email newsletter. We'll keep you updated that way. We also are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so we'll be updating that regularly as events happen.
Yep. With the groundbreaking event, we'll be posting that, so you can follow us right along from there.
Awesome, man. I cannot wait for this.
We will have a grand opening. The first invitations will go out to you guys.
Yes.
Did you hear that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us. This is awesome.
Thank you. We're excited.
Yep.
Man, how amazing does that sound?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it, man. First of all, Christy and Leslie, awesome people. But then to know that they're going to have this amazing facility in Ann Arbor with a beer garden, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. 16 dedicated indoor pickleball courts with a tennis court type surface, a beer garden. I mean, come on. This is going to be one of, if not the nicest indoor facilities in the country. I think I don't know of anything quite that large. I mean, maybe something exists. You can tell us in the comments below if there is something like that already. But I don't know if that's. I feel like I'm gonna live there once that thing is in place.
I think it's gonna be a good time. Looking forward to seeing the progress of that as they break ground and keep that project moving. Right.
Yes, cannot wait.
That's right. Well, good stuff. We also have more good stuff coming to you guys today at this podcast, right? Like a special guest.
I love special guests.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our special guest here. Our guest tonight is addicted to pickleball, just like we are. He's a high-level player, coach, and instructor. He has a passion to helping others grow in the sport and especially getting people to that benchmark 4.0 level. He has personally helped me with my pickleball game, and I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. I dressed up as him for Halloween. Please welcome the founder of In2Pickle and an all-around good guy, Tony Roig. What's going on, Tony?
What's happening, guys? How you doing, Eddie? How you doing, Webby?
Hey. Great, man.
Hey.
Super excited that we were able to get you onto the show here tonight. I know this is now our third attempt to get you on, but because of a couple other circumstances, didn't work out. But you're here.
I don't know how they dared to put nationals on when we had it scheduled, right? And
I know.
Then they were like, they said Scott Moore and Kyle and Simone and everybody wanted to play, and we're like, really?
Yeah.
But we had a podcast schedule, so whatever, for good at pickleball.
Yeah, I know. We stood back and we said, all right, we're gonna let these hacks who want to play the game kind of take our time, but that's all right. It was well worth it.
All for the good of the game, man. For the good of the game.
That's right. As I mentioned, I actually dressed up as Tony for Halloween here, and I'm going to show a quick picture of that. As you can see, I'm totally decked out in matching hat and shirt, and I don't know. What do you think? I think I nailed it. What do you think?
Kind of like it's a good look, man. You got the shirt looks right, the hat looks right. That's solid, man. Solid. We got to get you like maybe a wristband and then the whole, the finger point thing, and you'll be all right. You got it. There you go.
That'll be good. Which, by the way, guys, that shirt that I had on there, it was like one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn in my entire life, which I'm sure Tony's going to share with us here later as we talk about a lot of good stuff that he's working on, right?
Yep. Love to do it.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into it, one thing I like to do is get our guests nice and loosened up here. And what a better way to do that than also partake in something that Webby and I are passionate about, like craft beer. Do you wanna join us for that here, Tony?
Absolutely. You guys go first, and then I'll jump in. You guys, I think, probably have some more exciting beers than I do, so I'll go last.
Well, Webby, why don't you kick us off then?
Oh, don't mind if I do. I actually have a beer I'm very excited to drink right here. And this one comes from Founders Brewing Company. This is a seasonal beer, and it's actually almost time for this season to be done with, because this is best when you drink it as soon as possible. And this is called Harvest Ale.
Nice.
This is described as a wet hopped ale. And it says, each fall, our brew house looks more like a greenhouse as thousands of pounds of wet hop cones arrive within hours of being picked by some of our favorite local hop growers. It goes on to say a lot more stuff. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I can't wait to crack it open and drink it right now.
You should do that. That is a good beer. I have had it before. So, Tony, you live in the Tampa area, and you've been there for a few years, right?
About 25, yeah.
25. Okay. Well, then, the beer that I'm going to drink tonight, we actually drank on the podcast before. It was the episode with Glenn, maybe 14. I don't remember exactly, Webby. But this is from Cigar City. Oh, that's so funny. Check out the green screen.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's hilarious. This is the Guayabera. It's a Citra Pale Ale, and it's one of my favorite beers from Cigar City, one of my top beers in Florida, actually. and I'm a big fan of it.
Nice. Yeah, I love that beer. The first time I ever had it was on the show. I absolutely loved it. And isn't that the brand new can technology they have? It's like the transparent can technology.
That's hilarious. I didn't even think about the fact that it's a green can in front of a green screen.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. What about you, Tony? What are you drinking tonight, man?
Mine's a pretty simple one. It's just a Sierra Nevada. Let's see if you can see that there. Can you see that there?
Yeah.
Sierra Nevada. It's just a Sierra Vesa, they call it. It's just a real light drinking, easy drinking lager, they call it. I just sometimes just want to have a nice, simple beer. Nothing complicated.
I like it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
And for any IPA fans, you've got to get this Harvest Ale if you ever get a chance, if you ever see it, because man, is this delicious. So good.
Oh, yeah. Mm-mm. Well, cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Salud. I haven't had a chance to pour it all, but I'll have a drink with you guys.
Good.
Oh, and I forgot to show you. I got the Beer City Open glass I'm drinking out of here from visiting you guys up in Grand Rapids. Great tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Cheers.
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 Well, good. Well, since only 4 people out there actually care about beer, we should probably move on to talk about pickleball. What do you say?
Sounds good to me. Always willing to talk pickleballs.
Nice, man. Well, why don't we start off then by, why don't you share with us your story when it comes to pickleball? When did you discover it? When did you become addicted? All that stuff.
Sure. So my wife Jill and I, who folks that follow us online have seen her in several videos, and some of you all have been lucky to meet her at tournaments and things like that. She and I were tennis players. We were playing USTA mixed doubles on a team. We had played on, I think, several teams together. And a mutual friend of ours, Charlotte, played pickleball. And so I don't remember exactly what, I think it was sometime towards the end of the year, she basically invited us to go to a local tennis facility that had the temporary nets and the pickleball courts painted on the ends of the tennis courts. And so she invited us to go there one Saturday, and of course, or Saturday or Sunday, but it was a weekend, and we went. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, all right, we're gonna go, we're gonna hit some balls around. This is some nonsense thing we're gonna do, but it's fine. It'll be fun, and then we'll have lunch, and it'll be a great day. And so we go out there, and fortunately, for me anyway, and I think it was the same for Jill, but for me, there was a gentleman named Steve there who was he was a tennis instructor there, but also was handling pickleball. And so he happened to be playing with the group that day, and he just put a whooping on me. Just like, I didn't know what to do, and he was just, kick my butt. And so I think that was really helpful for me personally, or for getting into pickleball, because it showed me that there's, and there's nothing wrong with rec play and things like that. That's a great aspect of our sport, but it showed me that there's a competitive side of it that I wasn't expecting. And so from there, I started, I think I got into it more than Jill initially. I think she kind of was sticking with tennis a little more in her mind. I started going to the rec centers in the mornings. What's funny is, we're in Florida, but here in the Tampa area, we've advanced now some in terms of getting some outdoor play, but most of the play in Tampa is indoor play, which is surprising. Most of the play here is in Pinellas, and even in Tampa historically had been indoor. So I'd go to the rec centers and just, mess around and play, and then Jill, I think she warmed up to it, and then we just started doing it. And I haven't picked up a tennis racket in 4 years, and I was playing tennis, I don't know how many times a week, and including in USTA leagues and everything like that. So I think my, addiction or love for the sport was pretty quick. And then what happened was, that was in 15, and then in 16. Our friend Tom DiCaprio and I played in the U.S. Open that year, first U.S. Open, and that really just set the hook. The hook was already in there, but that really just set the hook. We played. I remember Friday morning, our first match was against Tom. Tom decided, well, let's just play. They had the Open qualifier back then, so they did like a one-day qualifier. Mm-hmm. So he said, let's play that. So I'm like, fine. So we 8 in the morning on Friday morning. And it was court 10, those courts are the East Naples, right? Court 10 on the corner. And we get there, and it's Dan Moore and Wes Gabrielson was our first match. So,
oh man.
So we got pummeled. I still have the video where Jill was filming from the end of the court, and I have a reasonably decent forehand volley put away, right? That's my shot. And so I'm hitting that at Dan, and he's set back on defense, and he keeps on hitting it back at me. And I hit it, and I hit it like 4 times before I finally, won the point. And I have that on video, and I'm like, got my point against Dan. So anyway, but the 16 Open, I think really is what finally set the hook. And then after that, it's just been pickleball and pickleball. So.
Okay. So did you play tennis also when you were younger, or is it something you picked up when you were later in life?
I played tennis as a kid. My family, I grew up in Venezuela, right, in South America, and down there it's different than here. Tennis is. It's actually closer. It's closer to pickleball in the sense that you go to the club. And then, like, let's say you're there, Eddie or Webby's there. I'll be like, hey, Eddie, you want to go play? And so we go play. And then we come back to the clubhouse or the kind of the central area. And then maybe we go up to the pool, or we go to they had a bowling alley, or we do something else. And then we come back and play some more. Maybe then we get a doubles with Webby, you, me, and whoever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was a little more social, and so we would go there all the time. But I played competitively as a kid. Then I in high school I didn't do it anymore. College I played like some intramural, just messing around, and then I picked it up again. I'd say like 15 years ago, maybe a little more than that. But my brother Andy moved to Tampa, and we both knew how to play tennis, and he got into a USTA league, and he asked me if I wanted to join, and I figured it was a good way for he and I to spend some time together. You know what I mean? Kind of like we had the thing to do. So that's what got me back into it.
Okay, that's cool. So growing up in Venezuela obviously was probably a lot different than what your life has been here. How old were you when you moved to America?
13. We moved. There's an event down there. I can't remember if it's called Black Friday or Black Monday, but I know it has black in it because the currency devalued, and so basically went like 20 times devalued in one night. And so we after that my father's Cuban, my mother was U.S. citizen or American. She was born here. She was born in Jacksonville, and we were down there because my dad was working down there. He was a professor, and the country it's a beautiful country. The people are beautiful. It's a mess now, but it's a beautiful country, and just the economy tanked, and we just decided to move back. So,
wow, that's crazy. It's probably such a different experience growing up in that environment,
Yeah, it was the good memories, and I still have a lot of affinity for the country and for its people, but that's where I played. My formative tennis was down there. A lot of tournaments and things like that. So.
Was the style of tennis there similar to the style here? Like, I know that I'm starting to see that different parts of the country, even let alone the world, with pickleball, you're going to find different styles of play. Is that similar with tennis?
Yeah, I mean, I think tennis has like some like if you watch like Spanish tennis players, because they play on clay, play different than like U.S. tennis players and maybe like Eastern European tennis players. They have some differences in terms of their approach to the game. I think at the age I was playing, I probably wasn't at a level that. Listen, I'm an old guy, so when I started playing, I played with wooden tennis rackets. I did. I mean, I had wooden tennis rackets, and I remember the evolution to aluminum rackets, and then to the graphite rackets. So that probably changed the game more than like just being in Venezuela versus somewhere else. So.
All right, that's cool. And it sounds to me like you and Jill, you guys did actually spend a lot of time traveling, right? You had an RV and kind of lived that lifestyle for a while.
Yeah, we still do. We didn't go out on the road this year because we moved into a condo here in Tampa and Clearwater. Actually, the latest videos you've seen have been filmed. A lot of them have been filmed here at the court at the condo. That was one of the draws. It's actually like literally like it's dark outside now, but I can see it out the window where I'm sitting. I could see the pickleball courts. You're like, pickleball courts right there. Why would we not live there? So we moved to the condo, so we didn't want to go out this year on the RV, but we did it in 17, we did it in 18. My guess is we're going to do it next year, and then the plan is the first year we did it, we did mostly in the Midwest area. So we actually spent a lot of time in Michigan. We went up to the Upper Peninsula and just saw parts of the country that the thing about an RV is like you see things totally differently than you do traveling otherwise, because it forces you like if I was going to Grand Rapids, right, I just hop on a flight and I get to Grand Rapids and we hang out and then I leave, right? But with the RV, I can't. So with the RV, I have to figure out, okay, I have to get from point X to point Y to Y, and there's a space in between. So like, you know, you discover things that you wouldn't otherwise, like Picture Rock, for instance, up in Lake Superior. I didn't even know that existed. And I was looking for, I mean, I kind of saw the Upper Peninsula. I'm like, this looks interesting. So we looked, and then I saw a bunch of campgrounds and I started researching, and again, it just forces you to look at stuff that you wouldn't otherwise look at. So, and then, so the next year we did East Coast. So we went out to Maine, played tournaments up there. We always generally come back to the middle because we have now a grandson too, but we have a daughter and son-in-law that live in Columbus, Ohio. So we spent some time up there, played pickleball up there, and then usually going to Michigan or Indiana or something is convenient. But next year the thought is that we're going to actually head to the West. So next year I want to go to Nationals. I haven't been to Nationals yet. So the plan is to head west, head up to Ohio, and then from there head west. That's the plan.
As long as Beer City Open is one of your stops, then I approve.
We actually, right. I was looking at last year. We actually played, I think we played 19 tournaments last year, which is, you know, pretty. What we do is we actually plan, you know, we'll look at go, and then we'll kind of schedule it if we can so that we hit different events. So like even the year that we were in Michigan, we played Kalamazoo, the regional. We played the Royal Oak one, the one that Nancy was running over there in Royal Oak. We played that one. We played at least 2 in Michigan. I know we played like 2 or 3 in Ohio. We played in Toledo. We basically like, you know, we played Rochester one year because we were coming across. The one from Maine, we were like, oh, Rochester, they have a tournament. We'll stop. We'll play, you know, so kind of like that.
Nice.
Cool. So, well, I do have a couple more questions about RV life, but it sounds like maybe there's some movement going here in the socials, right, Webby?
Yeah, we've actually got a couple comments on YouTube coming through right now. And here is one from A. Paul LeBaron II. He says, Tony, who are the better players in the Tampa area?
I mean, there's several now, but what's fascinating is when and like Tom DeCaprio and I kind of started together, right? So we met each other at one of the rec centers, and we started kind of growing in the sport together. We're both roughly the same age. He's a righty, I'm a lefty, so we played tournaments together like that. And so Tom and I, we actually, I'll tell you kind of a funny story. This had to do with this is before the 16 Open. So the 16 Open was supposed to use there was a new ball being launched by Wilson back then, right? And they were supposed to be competing with Dura. So they were going to have this Wilson ball. So Tom, who's like he does sports stuff like sports promotion and things like that. He picks up a bag of these balls, of the Wilson balls. I find out through a friend that the top players in Tampa at the time weren't having the regular game, which was played indoors. They were going to be outdoors. So we reserved a court at the same facility at the same time for Tom and I just to drill. So it's one of those things where you get out there and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing out here? You know, so they're out there doing their thing. We're next to them. Tom has these Wilson balls, and there's a couple of the guys like Jeff and some of the other guys that were curious about the Wilson balls. So they come over to ask us about the balls, which I don't know why Wilson launched those balls because they weren't any good. But anyway, so what we did is by doing that, we were able to meet those guys and then get invited to their group, and that allowed us to then improve. But right now, I would say that we have, I'd say, God, it's hard to, like off the top of my head, but we probably have a core of 8 or maybe even 10 guys. I'm trying to think, because there's a couple of tennis pros that have gotten into the sport that are amazing players. Because like one of them, he was Damon at Baltimore, was an All-American tennis player at University of Florida. So, you know, a player with that kind of a lineage or pedigree, you give him or her, if it's a woman, you give them a pickleball paddle and give them a couple of minutes and they figure it out. So, you know, like Damon and Marka down there and Marissa, my wife, I think, is one of the better players. I'm a decent player. Tom, Tyson, Mono, anybody out. And there's but there's even guys like right now that are coming up. Like for instance, there's Tony Crouch, Dave Pellets, people like that are basically coming. Matt Nielsen is here. I mean, I forgot Matt Nielsen, the singles superstar. I'm trying to think of Dave Duncan is in the area, who's a really good player. I mean, there's and I hope if I forgot anybody, I apologize. But there's there's a good core of guys and gals that are, the sport's really growing. And I will say this about Tampa that's kind of curious to me, is that if you look at Tampa's size, and when I say Tampa, I'm including Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, the whole area. So Tampa Bay area, we are so small from a pickleball standpoint, and we're way behind other communities. I mean, we're way behind Naples, where you're at, Eddie. Mm-hmm. We're like light years behind you in terms of our development here. Not just players, even though those are catching up, I think, like facilities. We have the largest facility we have here is, I want to say this correctly, we have an 8-court facility, outdoor facility, but that's only a year old. We have Bardmore, which is 6 courts right now. That's, I think, 2 years old roughly. So really our outdoor facilities are like built yesterday, you know what I mean? And right now I think outdoor dedicated courts, the good thing is they're starting to just roll them out. So we got 8, I don't think we have more than 30 outdoor courts in all of, I'm going to go 40 just to be safe, in all of the Tampa Bay area. It makes no sense.
Oh, wow.
Right. So,
man.
Yeah. And that's, it just, we still play on temporary nets, at some facilities. And it's just, but pickleball, like you go out there, the 8 courts they built up in North Tampa, you go out there now, and I think it's fascinating because you go out there and, I think because I'm in this community and I'm out there a lot that I know most of the people, but I go out there and I'm like, who is that group? There's like 12 people, and who's this group? There's 4 people, and it's nice. It's good to see new people kind of joining the ranks. So,
yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I didn't answer your question, but exactly. But that's a good group in Tampa. So.
No, I thought that was a great answer. And you were talking about the pickleball facilities there. Speaking of pickleball facilities, I don't know if you saw the video that we played earlier about the new facility that's going to be built next year in Ann Arbor. It's from Wolverine Pickleball. We've actually got Leslie White, one of the founders of Wolverine Pickleball, tuning in. And she said, I hope Tony's next time in Michigan, he will come to Wolverine.
I would love to do that. So, that's in Grand Rapids?
It's in Ann Arbor, actually. And it's in the process. Okay. Yep. And it's they're shooting for summer of 2020 for that to be finished. And man, that thing is going to be awesome once it's done.
Webby, I have an idea.
That'll be
okay.
Shoot.
And so Tony's been helping me with my game. DJ Howard's been helping you with your game. What about a little Eddie and Tony versus Webby and DJ match at the new Wolverine Pickleball facility?
Oh, man. I would absolutely be down. What about you, Tony?
I'm good with it. DJ is a class act, and I think one of the best sort of ambassadors for our sport, not just in his knowledge, but I think in how he carries himself and the knowledge that he shares on Facebook. I think he does a really good job with that. And so, yeah, I'd love to, anything I can do, man, to help the sport and help facilities. Like, I love that people are betting on red, if you will, or betting on this sport. And I think it's a good bet. And anything I can do to help, that'd be great. The only thing I want to be able to do is Eddie and we're going to be, I think it wasn't it? You guys might be too young for this, but I think it was Red Dawn, wasn't it? It was like Wolverines, and then we come running over the hill, like that. That's what, as long as we can do that, that's what I want to be able to do. So.
All right, I think it's
nice.
But I would love to be in the Wolverine facility. If it's open by the time I get up there, I will do my best to make it by there for sure.
Yeah, we're just missing one piece of the equation of the match that Eddie proposed. So, DJ Howard, if you're listening, if you're up for this challenge, we've just been challenged by Eddie and Tony. So I have a feeling DJ will be up for the challenge, but we'll have to wait and see.
But Webby, now you're gonna make me feel self-conscious, because if DJ's not listening, I'm gonna be like, man, I didn't make it onto DJ's calendar. I'm gonna be all now. I'm sad.
All right, let's do one more comment here from YouTube before we move along, and this comes from Spartan Pickleball, and they say, "What do you say is the best way to improve in pickleball?" And I'm assuming that's directed towards you, Tony.
I think clearly the answer is focused drilling, and I recently did a piece, and people are welcome to go to the website, In2Pickle.com. It's just this thing here, In2Pickle.com. It's pretty straightforward. But if you go there and I'm trying to improve this part of the web in terms of how you get to the stuff, but you have to scroll to the bottom and there's a blog category. So there's some written materials in there. So one of the things that I wrote recently was about drilling. And I said, I basically said, stop drilling. Excuse me. But this is a pretty gaseous beer. I said, probably not the best choice for a podcast, right? Let me get the beer with the most gas content in it.
Yeah.
But so what I was trying to say was I was saying stop drilling, but what I meant to say, what I was getting at was stop drilling the wrong way. Clearly, if you want to improve, you have to work at the game. And I want to be clear about this, I have nothing against rec play. I think rec play is one of the most amazing aspects of our game, that people can just go out there and enjoy themselves. They don't have to get stressed about missing third shots, and that's fantastic. I think that's great. If you want to get better, though, rec play is not going to get you better. So, going out and just playing rec play, great exercise. Again, enjoy yourself, enjoy the social aspect. You will not improve. If you want to improve, you'll have to do two things. One, you're going to have, three things, I should say. You're going to have to drill. So you're going to have to practice whatever it is that is necessary, whatever is kind of missing in your game, right? So as an example, like when Eddie and I started working on the Project 4.0 and I was working with Eddie, one of the things we were looking at was Eddie's weight balance while he hit the balls. So I can point it out to Eddie and I can explain to Eddie, which I did, why that's important to correct that. Then it's up to Eddie, which he did, to go out and incorporate what we've just talked about into his game. And I think the only real way to do that is by drilling, by just hitting the balls or doing the activity in the correct format repeatedly, so you develop that muscle memory. For instance, you get a tennis player, like I said earlier about Damon being an All-American tennis player. If I give anybody with Damon's background a paddle, he or she will know body positioning, court movement. I mean, that stuff it's innate, right? But some of us don't come from racket sport backgrounds, right? Like Eddie, I think, didn't really have a racket sport background. So Eddie has to learn the things that a Damon, or even myself, having played tennis for years, just come naturally to me. Like I know how to move my body to address the ball, how much space I need between the ball and my body, those types of things. If you don't know that, then you got to work at it. So I would say the number one thing is, first is actually understanding what you have to do. So you have to, that's the only way you're going to drill correctly. So first thing is understanding the issue you need to fix and fix it. In other words, what's the right way of doing it? And then the second thing then would be to drill it. The third part is you do have to play, because you do have to, see, is what I'm doing working in my game. Excuse me. But the way you have to play, is more intentional. So again, nothing against rec play, but you have to play a little more intentionally to really see it. And that means either playing on a court, if it's rec play that they have like a challenge court or something like that, putting yourself in a situation where you're really testing whether that thing that you're working on is improving or not, or if there's something else you need to work on. So those are the three things I would recommend for serious improvement. And I would say the ratio is mostly drilling, less playing. So probably like 75 or 80% drilling. And if you really want to improve, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Tony, because honestly, that I've pretty much adopted that entire mentality, and I would say pretty recent, within the last month. I try and drill at least 4 to 5 hours a week now, and then play. I'm in a league, competitive league, and then outside of that, it's maybe only 3 to 4 hours of actual rec play. So I think right now I'm probably at 70% of my time is drilling or league play, and then 30% of my time is rec play. But even sometimes during rec play, what I'm trying to do is schedule private matches with people who are my skill level or higher. Like, for example, last Friday night, I had my men's partner, Mark, from Punta Gorda, come down to East Naples. We played with Steve Britt and Joe Parisi, who are players that are higher than us, and they were willing to play because they can still get something out of it playing with people at our level. But ultimately, we're the ones that were gaining from the experience that they provided. So I think it's
and I would say, Eddie, that I think it's an important component in our game that we shouldn't lose sight of, which is, there's what happens sometimes, unfortunately, is you'll have players, and I know Steve Britt well, and he's a super nice guy, so he definitely will play with anybody who wants to play, particularly players, and I'll get to this more in a second, but particularly players who have a desire to improve, and they're not just out there going like, hey, play with me just to play with me. They're out there, play with me because I want to get better. Then what you see players like Steve saying, okay, I'm happy to do that, to play with you. But what ends up happening, again, I'm not suggesting you would do it or Steve would do it or anybody that I mentioned, but what happens sometimes is a player will move up, right? And then what happens is that same player doesn't look back anymore. So that player only looks up, right? So that player's only looking to go up and play up. But what ends up happening is then the players behind that player can't improve, right? And so what I tell players when I see this happening, is this player saying, looking to play, for instance, with me or with Tyson or Mon or somebody like that, but is not willing to play with players underneath them, is I ask them, why then would we play with you? Right. In other words, if you're asking us to play with you, then maybe you play with this gentleman or lady. You know what I mean? So that's something that I think really it's. And I don't understand the logic of it, because again, if you can, and again, I don't mean you personally. I mean, if a person can play up, because I know you would play with any player that said, hey, can you run out with me? You'll play with them. Like I'll play with a 3-0 player. Mm-hmm. I'll play with a 3-5 player. Today, for instance, we had a pretty advanced group out playing at the courts, and this older gentleman, he thought it was open play. He showed up. He may be a 3-0. And we worked him into some games. We got him out there because what am I going to do? Tell him, no, right, just get out of here? It just doesn't make any sense. So now I still got my games in, right? But, he got some games in too. So everybody's happy. So anyway.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah.
Little pontification there.
Yeah.
So Tony, I'm not sure if you can see the screen, but there's a message from Daniel J Howard Pickleball, and he says, is there some kind of challenge taking place? Sounds like word travels fast.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna sleep well tonight. I have arrived. I gotta tell Jill. Is this being recorded? Can I get a copy of this? Is this recorded? That DJ Howard is somehow involved in this podcast. Did somebody? That's a joke, man. There's no way DJ Howard's on this thing.
No, that's
with
him.
Me. I mean, with you guys, yeah, but not with me, man. That is DJ Howard.
Legit, and that is the Daniel J Howard Pickleball.
Hello, Daniel J Howard Pickleball. I already gave you love before. I can't repeat myself, so you have to listen to it. Rewind it and listen to the love I gave you earlier.
So, Tony, do you want to talk about the challenge that got issued earlier, just in case DJ didn't hear it? Do you want to what was the challenge that was placed earlier?
Yeah, it was fascinating because DJ, I assume you're on now, but if you're listening, it was basically. It's something like Eddie and Webby against me and you, and it was $500 entry fee. It was something really weird like that. I was like, listen, guys, I know you guys have been working on your game. I'm looking forward to it, so let's do this thing. Something like that. Was that right? Those are my notes. Is that not right?
How about if we get 1 point, then we win? I think that's more fair.
Right.
Come on, guys. You guys can get at least a point.
I mean, we're definitely up for any challenges, but that is not the challenge that was issued earlier. I will put that on the record right now.
It's going to be fun, DJ. We're going to get this thing organized, and we're going to see you up in Michigan. Me and Mr. Eddie against you and Mr. Webby, and we're going to. I was going to say Mr. Atkins, but I can't pronounce Webby's last name, so I'm just going to go with. I changed it around to the Webby and the Eddie thing. So yeah, you and Webby, me and Eddie, and let's have a good time, man.
All right.
Yep. So you heard it here, DJ. The challenge was Eddie and Tony versus Webby and DJ Howard. So I don't know if you want to give your official answer here live during the podcast, but while we wait for that answer, there is a great comment here from Jared Brooks. And Jared says, what would be the best drills you can do with yourself if you don't have anyone to drill with?
Jared Brooks. How are you, Jared Brooks? Good to read your voice. Best drills you can do. There's all kinds of things you can do. I mean, you can do, I'll give you an example. Like a lot of people have the service yips, right? And the service yips are a nightmare. So a lot of times, what's happening with the service yips is I will tell you this: it's a big problem all the way around with pickleball players is rushing. So what ends up happening is if you look at what's happening with their strokes, and particularly on the serve, is that they're just rushing themselves through the shot, right? So obviously you can serve by yourself, by just you doing your normal serve. But one technique you can use to break that a little bit is to bounce the ball. So what you'll do is you'll take however many balls you have, 20, 30, 40, it doesn't matter, in a little bag, and then you drop the ball in front of yourself, let it bounce. That way you give yourself time, and then hit it, and then bounce it a few more times, and then start hitting it out of the air. And if that doesn't work, then start bouncing again. So that's an example for someone who has a service issue. You can also do third shots, for instance, dropping balls in front of yourself. And you can challenge yourself as much as you want. You can either drop the ball right in front of yourself, or you can drop it off to a little bit away from you. Another thing you can do is if you have a wall, any kind of a wall, even on in your garage and like that. There's a couple of videos. I did a video on the backswing. Helping break the backswing, which has some drills for basically shortening your swing, which I think is a super critical component or part of this game. I know Joe Baker did a really good video on volleys against a wall and how you do that. And there's a really nice video on that. And then the other one was Glenn Peterson. I think it might have been, I don't remember, it was Pickleball Channel, Pickleball 411 or not, but he did one where he shows you how Glenn Peterson, senior pro medalist and everything. He practiced against the wall. So the wall is an amazing tool for improving your game. So those are just a few ideas.
Nice. Yeah, that's always something I'm looking for is to ways to drill when I'm by myself, because a lot of times when I'm with other people, I just want to play, so I don't do a lot of drilling when I'm with other people. So if I could drill when I'm alone, that would be a great thing. So those are some great tips. And
Webby,
I also see
Webby.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out there
that?
for you on the drilling. The thing about drilling is, I think the ratio I gave you is 70 or 80%. That's like optimal, right? Or perfect world. But if you can't do that, I would suggest don't not drill because of that. What I suggest is I know what happens. You go out to the course and you're like, let's go, let's play. Nobody wants to drill. Yeah. Just get them to drill for like 5 minutes. Literally, just come, find a drill that's a cool drill. Like there's one that actually it was on the thing you're doing with Simone, Eddie. The one that Phil and Simone did. I've done that the last 2 times I've gone out to drill. It's an amazing drill, man. You do that thing standing inside and I got to give a shout out to Phil Metz for that drill. It's a really, really good drill. I even did the wristband on my head, was awesome. But that thing where you go inside and drill, man, you do that for 5 minutes before you play a game. You're gonna step outside the lines and go like, I'm the fastest guy ever. You're gonna become like the Dave Weinbach of hand speed just by doing that drill. So just do like 5 minutes of it, if that's all that people want to do. So
all right. Yeah.
Hey, DJ, I see. You got to read it, right? Read it, Webby, and then I'm going to answer it because that's not right.
Yeah. So we do have a message here from DJ. He says, I'm totally up for winning some money. So it sounds to me like DJ is super confident that he and I will destroy you guys.
DJ, there was nothing in the challenge about Webby paying you for playing with him, so I don't know where the money's coming from. So, that was there. Boom. See ya.
Yes. Oh man,
trash
shots
talking
fired.
I love it.
Oh man. We'll bring some. What are those things called from the Upper Peninsula? The Patsies or whatever. Are they called Patsies? Those little pastry things from up there.
Yeah.
Webby,
stop
right?
cutting to you.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to use the switcher.
Everybody wants to see Webby, man. Webby's the star of that thing. What's going on?
Oh, come on.
Nice.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Was that little?
All right, fix it.
Was that little Nas X?
Yeah. Sorry. Webby. I gave Webby control. He can control a lot of transitions and stuff remotely from his end. Sometimes he goes a little click crazy.
Yeah, that was a bad idea for him to do that.
Yes. So
nice.
All right. Well, anyway, good stuff. I'm excited for the challenge. The money is going to be coming our way for sure. So excited to take on DJ. Let's talk a little bit about In2Pickle. I feel like we've been talking about your background a little bit. We kind of just got hot and heavy into some, advice on playing pickleball and stuff like that. But I got to tell you that when I got into pickleball and I really wanted to step up my game, I was searching YouTube like crazy for videos, and I couldn't get enough content. And I still to this day believe that we don't have nearly enough content out there for strategy, drills, techniques, things like that. And so when I came across In2Pickle, I was like, all right, here we go. This is another great YouTube channel with sound advice. And I was instantly drawn into your videos. I've watched every single one of your videos, and I'm not just saying that because you're on our podcast. I legitimately have watched every single one of them. So why don't you at least start off by telling us, like, why did you even start In2Pickle? What was your motivation for that?
That's actually, I got to credit Jill, my wife, for the whole basic concept, which was we were in the RV last year in 18, and I tend to, when I play pickleball, when I'm out, no matter where I am, so I could be in Vermont playing or in Michigan or whatever. If I'm playing with a group and I think I can add some value to them, then I will ask, may I, would you mind if I give you some suggestions? And I give them some suggestions. And so I started doing that, and it kind of became like a very natural thing for me to do. Yeah. So Jill said to me, why don't you get certified? So I looked at the IPTPA website. They had a certification up in, where was it? It was in Massachusetts, I think. Anyway, Cape Cod, I think. Anyway, so we changed our travel plans. We brought the RV down there, stayed there. I got certified. And then I had no background in doing any of this kind of video stuff. In fact, I think when you and I were talking about it, many months ago, I was explaining to you how I just do it on my computer and the basic thing and just, put them together. And so, but I wanted to, I thought there was some really good video content out there. I kind of grew up watching myself in pickleball, watching Joe Baker's videos, Mark Renison's videos on Third Shot. I'm trying to think of who else. Nothing against the videos that are like, nothing against Jordan and Barrett and those guys, but they weren't the ones that I watched back in the day.
Right.
Probably some of Pickle Pong Debs maybe, and then some of the Pickleball 4-in-1s. So basically like that kind of stuff, And so I thought it was great content. But I thought that there was, like you said, I think there was a space there for additional content. I think some of the content that we're missing, and I would encourage other video makers like myself to try and work on some of this, because I think it's important for the sport, is stuff for 2.5 players, 3.0 players. Again, nothing against high level drills. Like, friends, I give all that drill by Phil is an amazing drill. I really enjoyed doing that, and that's a drill that a lot of people can do. So I'm not trying to pick on that one, but there are some videos that are maybe concepts or things that are 4-5, or 5-0. Again, nothing against that. That's perfectly fine. There's a space for those as well. But I think a 2.5 player or 3.0 player that's I get reminded all the time. People are like, they'll ask me in a clinic or in a situation. They'll be like, sorry, what's a volley? And I'm like, and so I'm like, and I go, okay, well, then I explain it to them, right? Because why should they know what a volley is? Sure. I know what a volley is, but I grew up with volleying. So, they don't have to know what the word volley means. And so I think there needs to be, I think there's a space for us, the content providers, to try and be as I don't know, almost as take it to try and take it to a level of someone who doesn't have our background and understanding of the game, and maybe try and explain it like that. So anyway, so that was the sort of the genesis of In2Pickle. Was I started out and put out a few videos and kind of see what happened. I thought there was, like for instance, the no volley zone. It drove me crazy that people don't understand it. So one of the first videos I did was, let's talk about the no volley zone. I thought it was, I couldn't believe I don't know if you saw it or not, you probably did, but there was a conversation in Facebook recently about somebody getting yelled at for a no volley zone violation because they hit the ball. Something like they went into the kitchen and they said, no, but the ball had bounced, right? That was the response. Well, the ball bounced. But the counter to that by the person saying you violated the rule was the ball didn't bounce in the kitchen, because the ball bounced outside of the kitchen.
Right.
right? So you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense, right? But
Yeah.
but again, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. It made sense to the person making the argument. I understand that, but that's just a misunderstanding of the whole thing, because then people start focusing on well, the ball has to bounce in the kitchen before you can go in, and a lot of times people will wait till the ball
Right.
bounces to move, and you're like, no, the rule is just you can't hit a volley in the kitchen. So let's look at it the right way, and then if it's not that, then it's allowed. You know.
Yeah, you can
And
stand
so
there
anyway,
the
so
whole
that's-
match
that
if you
was-
want. You just can't hit a
you
volley
can,
out of it.
yeah, I know. So that was the kind of thing that I was like, well, why don't we? And the same thing about, like, everybody was saying to everybody, run in, and I'm like, no, that's not right. So I did a couple of videos on that. So I tried basically finding. Initially, I was just reacting, right, to like, something that I saw, that I thought needed explanation, and how can I reach all these people doing videos. Now some of the more recent videos are a little more stepping back from the game and saying how does a person progress in the sport, right? So like Project 4.0 that you and I worked on, Eddie, was part of that, and still is part of that. It's like saying, well, let's start with the serve. Let's talk about the serve. Let's talk about the return. Let's talk about the serve not being the return. The same thing, So it's just trying to build up piece by piece or block by block what a player needs to become a competent pickleball player.
Well, and that's my question for you. Obviously what you've been able to work with me on for Project 4.0 has significantly increased, my game, watching video, analyzing it, being able to put it into practice, recording another video, analyzing that, see the progress that I've made, see where I can still improve is huge. What is it to you about that 4.0 level, though, that is such a I don't even know, a milestone in the pickleball world?
I mean, to me, like a benchmark 4.0 player, right? And I won't get into what that means, but basically like a solid or a good 4.0 player is just an excellent pickleball player. In other words, a good 4.0 player can stand on the court with Kyle Yates. Now, I'm not saying they're going to take a point off Kyle Yates, because they probably will not, right? But they can be on the same court with Kyle Yates, because their understanding of the game is sufficiently good, sufficiently deep. Their execution is sufficiently good, sufficiently deep to be able to play a point with the best player, arguably one of the best players, if not the best player on the planet, right? Mm-hmm. So that, to me, that's why 4.0 is such a kind of a critical level. Plus, to me, a 4.0 player, anybody who is, wants to, right, and is, halfway able to move around and stuff like that, can become a 4.0 player. You don't need, to become a 4.5 and a 5.0. Now you start talking about hand speed. You start talking about some movement issues and things like that maybe a player can't do, and that's fine. Maybe some pace issues that just don't work. But to be a good 4.0 player, that's accessible to anybody who wants to become a 4.0 player. Can become a 4.0 player, in my opinion, with enough work and just focusing on the game. So
yeah,
that's why I think it's such a critical.
Yeah, well, that's honestly why I've liked Project 4.0, is because you make it possible. Because when I first started, when I thought 4.0, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And now that I'm right there at that level, I feel like, oh, okay, this is just doing a bunch of little things in a better way than I used to. This is about knowing where to stand on the court. This is about knowing how to hit that shot. This is about not letting my opponent get a good shot on me. Sometimes it's about defending a good shot, but most importantly, it's about not letting them get that good shot on me and kind of owning the game. And so that's one of the things I love about your videos, is that they make it real. They make it, I don't want to say easy, but you can actually visualize yourself doing those things and playing well at a 4.0 level. And
I also try and thanks, Eddie, but I also try and focus on, like concepts that there's certain concepts that there's no reason why a 2.0 player or 2.5 player can't do it as well as a 5.0 player. A perfect example is where you stand on return of serve. Mm-hmm. Like do you get jammed up on a return of serve, or are you giving yourself enough depth on the return of serve when you stand there? Not the shot you're hitting like that, just where you stand. And so same thing, frankly, with outballs, like letting outballs go. There's no reason a 2.5 or a 3.0 can't identify outballs the same way, roughly, that a 5.0 can. In other words, just get into the habit of doing those sorts of things. Now, A 3.0, being able to serve like Ben John serves, that's a different issue, right? That's a different thing. But these kind of things that are decent things, but these elements of the game, right, that are accessible or reachable by a player at any level. And so that's a lot of the focus of what we focus on here at In2Pickle is how can I get a 2.5 player to 3.0 or 3.0 player to 3.5 by doing these types of things. If you just stand in the right spot, right, and understand the type of thing you're trying to accomplish, you'll improve. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. And I like it because I do feel like a lot of times when I'm talking with maybe some lower skilled players and they're like, oh, I really want to learn how to be able to do Ben John's backhand roll shot, or it's like, oh, I wish I could speed up my serves and things like that. And I'm saying like, I just, you don't need to worry about that right now, especially with serves. To me, it's like, get the ball over the net, try and get it deep. And right there alone, that's 70-80% of all that you need to do. Would you agree with that?
The serve and return is so irrelevant at most levels of play. You know, when you start getting up to the high 4.0s, 4.5s, 5.0s, fine. We could talk about, you know, cut returns and all that kind of beautiful stuff, right? Yeah. But before then, just don't miss your serve. Get it deep enough. Don't miss your return. Get it deep enough. You're good to go.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing else to worry about. So.
Yeah. Some of my favorite videos too that you talk about have to do a lot with kind of like court positioning and strategy. Respect the X. That was a big one for me, and actually that was a concept that that Webby and I even kind of talked about a lot, because the conception or the theory that was always out there was forehand covers the middle.
Don't say it, man. You're gonna. Sorry. Oh no, I'm gonna go into a stroke if you say it. But no, not forehand in the middle again.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like that was always the thing. And so that video, but the best part is that Tony, and this sounds like I'm just over here just blowing a ton of smoke. I'm really not. I am legitimately a fan of the content you put out there. That video broke it down into a way where you can see examples of why forehand always takes the middle doesn't work out necessarily. And you showed concrete examples behind it. And I think that's one thing to me that separates your content from a lot of other stuff that I've seen out there when it comes to discussing the strategy.
I'm going to tell you a quick little side story. So on that thing there, that's one of the first times that I knew that the content was actually helping was I was in a tournament. I think it was down in Delray or somewhere down in the East Coast of Florida. And I'm just walking around, you know, finding my next match or whatever. And this older gentleman kind of like taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around. And he just points at me and goes, "Respect the X." And I was like, "All right, cool. People are watching. That's good."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I kid you not, almost everywhere I go to play, at least one person brings up that Respect the X video. Like it's just that hit a chord with so many people, and like every time I'm playing, somebody was like, "Oh man, you got to check out this video. It's called Respect the X," or like, "Oh, do you know the Respect the X theory and stuff like that?" So man, that video was golden right there. Such a great video, and I'm telling you, people all across the country love that video and practice what you're preaching in it. So nicely done with that one for sure.
That's my Like a Virgin video.
Yeah.
That's the video that defines me. I like it.
Yeah. For sure, man.
Cool.
Webby, anything else going on out there in the socials?
Not at the moment. I'm trying to make sure I don't switch back to the wrong camera angle. Let's try it here, and boom.
Hey, nice job.
Excellent work, Webby.
Yeah. So Tony, in addition to your YouTube videos, there's a couple other, I don't know what you call them, services, things that you really specialize in with In2Pickle. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that it's been kind of a difficult thing for us to figure out the right approach to, because, a couple of things. I mean, I believe that video analysis and video coaching, right? The kind of thing you and I did. I think that's a tremendously valuable way of improving in the game, right? And so the question then becomes, I think, listen, I think live clinics and live lessons are great. They're perfect, but or not perfect, but they're good. I mean, they're a helpful tool as well. But you can't get, so there are some things that you can't get in a live lesson than you can get from a video analysis, right? Like there's a video. If anybody wants to see it, I'm happy to send it to them. If you send me an email at tony@In2Pickle.com, I'll send it to you. But there's a video that I did of a friend of ours, has an excellent forehand drive. He's a tennis player too, just really fantastic drive. But he had a little bit of a glitch in his shot, just a tiny glitch, because his balls would sail on him. And we were like, man, it's weird how his balls sail sometimes. There's instead of going straight or dipping, they were just flying up and just taking off. And so I took a video. It was a video just of one of the matches we had played, and I took some of that video and I started to do my thing, right? So I started to zoom in, break it down, slow it down, find it, look, find. Finally, I figured out that the ball was, so if this is his paddle, you see that if this is his paddle, the ball was coming off the end this way instead of his paddle going this way, right? Which is, so he was going this way instead of this way. And so we figured out that he was basically coming across the ball like combing it sideways, right? But it would have been really hard to figure that out just seeing him do it live. Like if you had just seen him doing it full speed, watching him, you'd have been like, man, that's, because it looks good. Everything looks good. So and it's just a tiny little thing. So that's the kind of thing that helps. Video analysis helps. The other thing is, I think it helps, and you can tell me if this is correct, Eddie, because like if you can see yourself, you're not just on a court me telling you, hey, Eddie, this is what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're seeing Eddie on the video doing what I'm telling you Eddie's doing. You're like, oh, that is what I'm doing. And it sort of helps you visualize what it is that you need to work on. So it really helps also in terms of the communication with the player in terms of what needs to happen. So anyway, the other thing that we wanted to address, that was one. And the other thing was, there's a good group of instructors, right, throughout the country. Okay, DJ being one of them. I mean, there's a bunch of good instructors out there. But a couple of things. One, they're not everywhere, right? It's not like tennis where there's a tennis instructor every corner, right? So infrastructure-wise, we don't have that yet. There's also, there's some very good instructors and some other instructors that just, they just don't know as much as maybe they should know to do what they're doing, right? So, and then there's areas where they simply don't have access to instruction, okay, where they live, sort of more rural areas or whatever. So, because of the technology, we could reach them by doing video analysis of their game and helping them improve. So we launched this project as part of our In2Pickle Academy. Is basically a personal online coaching program, right? But the structure we launched with, I think we launched a week ago. A week ago, it's a very time intensive process, right? Because as you know, Eddie, because you produce videos too, is you're going to produce a video, you're going to take video, you're going to edit it, cut it, move it, then you're going to splice in the correct shot, for instance. It just takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And so when I did the math on it, it's an expensive proposition to do the kind of intensive online coaching that we were trying to offer or are trying to offer. So we have that program available, but right now we're still working on other models, other things that where we. Like, I don't want to do something that I don't think I'm going to provide value to you, right? So I don't want to just do a video analysis, real quick one, down and dirty, send it to you and charge you some money and be done with it. I'm not sure that gives you value. I want to do something that I can feel good about what I did for you and that you feel like you got value for what you paid for me doing, right? So we're still working on some of those models, but the ultimate hope of ours is that we can use our experience, and I think we've established our bona fides, I guess, in video analysis, that we can bring those and allow those to be accessible to players who like to use them. So that's one of the things we're working on. The other thing is I am putting together, going back to the Project 4.0 concept, is I'm putting together a basically like a complete roadmap. So basically a book, but it's focusing on Project 4.0. It's not just about different pickleball concepts. It's different pickleball concepts tied into how do you get from where you are now to being a benchmark 4.0. So it's even good for 4.0s who need to improve their game. Mm-hmm. So they can look at it and find out, they read it and they go, okay, I do this well. Oh, I don't do that well. right on the path, then they can say, okay, I need to work on this thing. And then once they fix that, then they keep on going. So hopefully that'll be coming out in the next little bit. The other thing we did is we launched the Florida Pickleball League. We started here in Tampa. I know you guys, friends, you guys have a league down in where you're at, Eddie, but our objective is, and actually we're working with Pete we're on the Pickleball Global System and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build something similar, but what we see this being first, in our community, we're getting started, and then a regional and then a state championship is what we'd like to see. And then big picture, this should be the same as the USTA. This should be a national event. So you have, the Florida team league champion going to play against the champion of Arizona, of Michigan, of whatever. So
all right,
that's the plan.
So you are a busy guy, is what it sounds like to me.
A little bit.
Well, nice, man. Well, as I mentioned before, man, all the stuff you're doing there at In2Pickle, love it. I love the whole concept. I love all the great content you're putting out there. This is your opportunity to be able to share with the world how they can contact you, where they can kind of follow you, get your content.
Excellent. We're on YouTube and Facebook. It's just this thing right here, In2Pickle. You just search In2Pickle on YouTube. We're on there. We're on Facebook as well. Our website is exactly the same thing, In2Pickle. Just remember the 2 is numerical, so it's in2pickle.com is the website. You can go there. You can look at our blog. We're migrating some of our content from our old website. So some of the graphs that we've done before for like the outball decision tree, covering angles, things like that, those will be migrated over. And then if you need to reach me, you can always reach me. It's Tony, Tony, at in2pickle.com.
Nice, man. Well, anything else you want to share with the world here before we let you go, Tony?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like you like the shirt that you said, this blue shirt, right? That's a good question right there. So this tri-blend shirt, right?
Yes.
So this is I love this kind of material, right?
It's amazing.
And I love the material, but a lot of people like they call it dry wick, but basically dry fit or whatever. But basically it's poly, so it's a poly shirt. What do you guys think about? You think it's more on the poly side or more on the tri-blend side, guys? What do you think people want?
So comfort wise, this shirt is 100% amazing, and I've played in this shirt too, and I think it was good. If it's a really, really hot day and I know that I'm going to go through multiple shirts, I feel like the poly material helps keep me cool. It helps keep the moisture off me a little bit better than this. Now, this is definitely better than a cotton shirt, but I like the moisture wickingness of the poly shirts a little better.
Gotcha.
Is the shirt you just held up, is that one of the tri-blend?
Yep.
So to be honest, I'm on the other side of things. I was actually talking to Eddie about this recently, and I prefer the tri-blend. It feels better to me. I know the moisture wicking sometimes can have like a cooling effect to it. But I think it depends on like what is printed on the shirt and the way that it's printed. But for me personally, lately, I've been liking the tri-blend shirts personally. So I don't know. You might need to do like a focus group or something and see what the majority of the people say, because I think a majority might like want the moisture wicking, but people like me, I don't know. I really like the tri-blend.
I gotta get Scott Lippitz to do a poll on Facebook for me because he's the poll master,
Yeah.
so he can do a poll.
Yeah, from a comfort.
The funny
perspective,
thing is,
yeah, you can't. From a comfort perspective, you can't beat this shirt, and it definitely does still allow some moisture wicking properties if you want to play in it. So all around, that is by far one of my most favorite shirts.
what I find fascinating is I have friends who wear the moisture wicking, and down here in Florida, how humid it is. Because like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, it's just so humid, and they're wearing the moisture wicking shirts, and they're like dying of heat, and I'm just like, but your shirt's already like it's sopping wet, so like you need to change your shirt because there's nowhere for your sweat to go. The heat mechanism is now, the heat transfer mechanism is shut down. I'm like, just because you're wearing moisture wicking doesn't mean it's wicking it if it's sopping. So
once it's saturated, you gotta put on a new one.
You gotta go.
There's still
there
still is nothing better to me than after an hour and a half of straight play, swapping it out, putting on a new moisture wicking shirt. It's a very good feeling.
Yeah, I've learned it's so good. You got to pack extra shirts. You just have to when you do a tournament, or if you're playing outdoors for multiple hours, got to pack extra shirts. And it is such a good feeling to put on a fresh shirt after getting one drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And talk about perfect timing. Orlena Sauer asked, "How do I get an In2Pickle shirt?"
Straight on if you go to the website, again, www.in2pickle.com. And we have this style here, and then we have the moisture wicking. We got it all. Everything's on. We got these cool hats.
Mm-hmm.
The hats actually, everybody. That's the other thing too. That's interesting. Is like this gray hat. People love the gray hat. Like the white hats, kind of sitting there. Blue hats went for a little bit, but these gray hats flying off the shelves.
They're good stuff.
Man, and I'm gonna show a quick. I'm going to show a few comments here real quick. We got a whole bunch of people that are on my side. We got one from Orlena saying try blend only. Got one here from Christy Howden. Try blend, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
That's serious. When you go triple exclamation, that's you're not messing around then. That's like conviction.
Right? Yeah, we got Sharon Dehaney. She says try. And last but not least, we've got Leslie White here. And she says tri-blend. So a lot of people are on the side of tri-blend, just like me. So I might know what I'm talking about.
Eddie, I think Webby got this one tonight, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But
no, hey,
sorry
it's
to
all
say,
good. It's all personal preference. Like I said, I love the shirt.
Hey, did I finally get my first victory over Eddie?
You guys keep the little check marks in tonight's Webby. You guys are like Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. Check mark.
Yeah, I'll give you this one, Webby.
All right.
Nice. Well, Tony, thank you again for coming on, man. I'm glad it finally worked out. I'm glad that nobody decided to schedule like some top-level pro matches tonight so we could actually have the podcast, and we definitely appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. And, I've always been a fan of you guys, and, I'm really happy for you guys do for pickleball. I think, the more of us that are, taking of our time like you guys do, and some of the other folks that we mentioned earlier do, just help grow the sport. I mean, I think this is going to be, to me, pickleball is the racket sport of the future. If you haven't read it yet, go to the website, go to the blog. There's an article I wrote about pickleball being the lawn tennis of our time. You'll understand the reference when you read the article, but I think it really is. If it's given the chance, and it has I think it has the opportunity just to benefit so many people, and physically and mentally and psychologically, socially. I mean, just the benefits of pickleball are well beyond a good third shot or a winning a silly rec game. Just the benefits are there, and I really appreciate you guys, helping. Move the boat or drive the boat or whatever you want to drive in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you, man. Same goes to you. Huge fans of what you're doing. So I like that we can keep collaborating and moving this ship forward together.
Anytime, guys. And next time I'll try and get a little fancier beer that has a little more story behind it.
It's all good, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
All right. See you, Tony.
See you.
Another great guest on the Eddie and Webby podcast.
Awesome. Always love talking to Tony. Such a great guy. Such a great ambassador for the sport. Always trying to teach everybody some great tips on how to get better. Yeah, just an awesome all-around fella.
I agree. Good stuff, man. I feel like we got deep into some really good pickleball content tonight, which was good as well. I always love talking, pickleball and strategy. And philosophy, and that's definitely an area that Tony likes to talk in. So good stuff, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and he's another guy that you could easily talk to talk hours to about pickleball, and the time would just fly right by. And I've said it before, 2020 is like the year of challenges for us. And once again, tonight, a whole new challenge. Eddie and Tony versus Webby and DJ Howard. That's going to be pretty epic. So Leslie and Christy, you got to hurry up and get the Wolverine facility up and running so we can make that happen, because that was the stipulation, is that it would be at your facility. So go ahead and just hurry up and get the facility done, please.
Yes, just for that, please.
Right. Yeah,
Nice.
if for no other reason, just for that.
Yes. I love it. Speaking of DJ Howard, don't we have another part to the video series that you and him are working on?
Why, yes, we do. On the previous episode, we played part 1. So if my math is correct, I think tonight we're going to be debuting part 2. Oh, yeah.
One other thing you always want to do, in addition to maintaining stability, balance, and rhythm, you want to take the ball on your terms, no matter what shot it is.
Okay.
Serves, returns, volleys, dinks, anything. You want to be committed to hitting your shot,
Okay.
as opposed to just reacting to whatever
Right.
they give you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I hear that all the time. Like, play your game. Don't get sucked into their
so
game.
strategically, you want to do what you want to do, but then individually on every single shot, you want to commit to hitting it how you want. So,
Okay.
in a nutshell, pickleball's only 3 skills. Only 3. Okay? Receiving the ball is 1 skill.
Okay.
Okay, so when I see the ball coming to me, I have to be able to move to receive it, right?
Yep.
Sending the ball back, okay? It might be a forehand, backhand, might be out of the air, might be off the ground, doesn't matter. Right? I'm sending the ball back.
Yep.
So I'm receiving and sending. And then I'm also recovering in between.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can do those 3, too often people neglect to recover. So I see the ball, I chase it, I hit it, and then I watch, and then I chase the ball,
Yeah.
and then I hit it back. If we can recover in between, it helps with that stability.
Okay.
And with the balance. And also with the rhythm, because that's timing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'll make some amazing saves. Like, I'll like run and hit them,
Yeah.
and then I'll just be like, oh, I made the shot, and then they just hit it right back
Right.
to where I should be.
And oftentimes most players, 4.0 below, fail to recover well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I definitely need help in the recovery area.
So as long as you know what those 3 skills are, we can work on each of them.
Okay.
Too often players just work on sending.
Gotcha.
Work on the 3rd shot drop. That's a sending skill, right? But you have to receive it well first in order to be able to send it well.
Okay.
And then you have to be able to recover.
Yeah.
Knowing where to recover is obviously very helpful as well.
Definitely.
Makes
Yeah.
sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So let's just continue with the rallies, okay? But because I'm moving you around, that whole long explanation was to remind you that you've got to be able to do all 3 of those skills well.
Right.
And you've got to be able to do it on your terms. So you're going to receive the ball well, so that way you can send it how you want, and then you better recover in between, or else you're going to be delayed with the receiving of the next ball. There you go. It's starting to get a little cleaner. You just got to tidy this up. There you go. Overall, it's starting to get a little better,
Okay.
right? I can see you're a little more determined to do what you want to do with this ball now.
Yeah.
You're no longer chasing quite as much. If the footwork is poor, you're going to be late,
Yeah.
and you're often going to lift that up.
Yeah.
But if we maintain stability and balance, now all of a sudden we are under control,
Okay.
and we can place that ball down where the opponent can't hurt us. This is red light zone. I gotta stop. I can't pull the trigger. Yellow light in here. I got some choices to make. I show caution, but I might have to go.
Yeah.
If it's green, that's easy.
Right.
I got the green light to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
So you want to keep this where?
Low and I'm assuming to
In
the
my
backhand.
red light zone,
Yeah.
right? Where I'm not going to be able to hurt you very
Right.
much. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
So I'm trying to keep it in your red zone. We got this push-pull back and forth. So every ball you hit is with intention. On your terms, place it out of my strike zone. Here we go. Come on. That's it. There you go. That's much better. Oh yeah.
oh.
Oh. It's better.
Yeah, I felt better.
You're hitting a cleaner ball.
Yeah, it felt better that time.
You're more. To me, you look more under control, and then you're controlling the ball better back on my side. To me, it looks like you're more determined to get there, get set, hit where you want, and then prepare for the next ball.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yep.
Right?
Man, that was such great stuff from DJ Howard there. And one of the things that I still noticed that I definitely need to improve on is the recovery. It was step 3 of the 3 main parts of pickleball. It's such a huge thing. Just a lot of people just don't think about it. Is like after you make a great save or a great shot, you got to make sure you recover and you're ready for the next one. Because even if you think the rally is over and you scored the point, you never know if they're going to return that shot or not. So you just got to be ready.
I like it. DJ seems like a good instructor. So that was a good content for us. Thanks for doing that, Webby.
And no problem. And thanks to DJ for allowing me to record our training session. And there will be many more videos from that. There's going to be at least a couple more from that training session that we will be showing in the next few episodes.
Very nice. A couple other things we want to talk about before we close out the podcast. I know one of them that I brought up before is about the World Pickleball Championships. And that is happening December 27th through 30th at Pickleplex in Punta Gorda, Florida. I'm going to be live streaming and also one of the commentators. We're going to have a team of commentators, which is going to be good. Just real quick, a little bit about the World Pickleball Championship. It is the first ever $100,000 tournament. And you can enter. That's right. There are 8 skill categories. And we want players from every state to come and be represented. That sounds horrible. We want every state represented at this tournament. So go ahead and check that out. It's going to be a good time. And if you're there, come by and say hello, introduce yourself, and we can hang out. Should be a good time.
Yeah, I wish I could be there. I'm super bummed that I will not be there. I actually have a pretty big event going on that weekend as well, and I will talk about that on a future episode, but not today.
Very nice. I know there was one other thing we wanted to talk about tonight, one other video to play as well before we cut over to dinking around. What are we gonna be doing with that video there, Webby?
Oh man, so anybody that's been checking out what we've been doing lately, you might know we've got kind of a feud brewing with the folks over at the No Smoke Pickleball show, and I feel like that feud is really gonna culminate at an event in a couple of weeks known as Dink for Pink, which is an event that our good friend Andrea Coop is hosting. And we're gonna do a Team Eddie and Webby versus Team No Smoke match at that event. Unfortunately, Eddie here is not going to be able to attend the event this year.
I think it's actually fortunately for you because of
actually,
what you're about to say.
It actually is. Yes. So because of this fact, the team will not be Eddie and Webby. I recruited somebody to play with me that I am super excited about, and we actually have a special video message from the individual that is going to be my partner, and I say we should just go ahead and roll that clip.
Hey guys, this is Maggie Remynse here. I'm tuning in from the USAPA Margaritaville Nationals in Indian Wells, California. It's beautiful here. But I just want to come in and say how excited I am to play with Webby at Dink for Pink in just a few short weeks. If you haven't donated yet, please see the link that my sister Andrea Remynse Chou shared a couple days ago. But, I wanted to say how excited I am to play with Webby and take on the No Smoke Show guys, Lauren and Kyle. And, they're going down. I know you've seen the back and forth, and I cannot wait to get them on the court. Webby's going to rock it, and I can't wait to take them out.
Oh, yeah. Man, I am super, super excited for this match. You have no idea how excited I am to play with Maggie against Lauren and Kyle. I feel like Lauren and Kyle have a lot of work cut out for them to defeat us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maggie is one hell of a player, and
Yes.
I think you guys are going to do pretty well together. You did well last year.
Yeah, I played with Maggie during our tournament last year, and we won against a very good team. And I feel like my skills have definitely increased since last year. So I think we have a very good chance, definitely a much better chance than Eddie and I would have had. So that's for damn sure.
Yes.
No, I think you and I, honestly, I think you and I could take Lauren and Kyle. They're I don't know, they're just a bunch of chumps over there at No Smoke.
I love it. The smack talking continues. I don't know, man. I feel like they're solid. But yeah, you and I, we could hold our own. We would have done pretty well.
Yeah, I think we've definitely gotten much better over the years. I mean, over the years, I've only been playing for like a year and a half. But anyways, yeah, I mean, since we first got started, man, it's crazy how much both of us have improved. So I think very soon you're gonna see Eddie and Webby playing against Ben Johnson, Kyle Yates, and people of that sort in the very near future.
I agree. Do you know what else I agree on?
What else do you agree on?
That everybody should stick around for Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. That's going to take place as soon as we wrap up this podcast here in the next couple minutes. You stick around. We do actually have a guest lined up that we are going to be bringing on here.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. It's one of the first times that we've proactively went out there, and so I'm excited about that. So definitely stick around. We're going to go dark with the podcast, and we're going to come right back up with our brand new introduction for Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. So don't go anywhere after we close out the podcast.
Do you see the message that flashed on the screen just now? Leslie White says, "Are you sure the No Smoke Show exists? I could not find their podcast anywhere." So, I mean, that's just further proof. I mean, Lauren, Kyle, I mean, come on, you've really got to up your game here. You talk smack about us nonstop. You can't get our names out of your mouths. And yeah, I mean, just like Leslie said, she tried to find your podcast, couldn't find it. I mean, come on. They probably had technical issues when they tried to share their podcast or something. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know.
I love it. Well, Lauren's going to be here next week, and we might be doing maybe one of her shows live from my live stream setup. So rest assured, it'll be issue free that night.
Yeah, it might be a smooth one for once. That'd be awesome.
I love it.
No, I do love their show. I don't want to talk too much smack. I mean, I'm definitely planning on destroying them on the pickleball court, but they do some great work. And if you've never checked out the No Smoke Pickleball show, you definitely should.
Yes, I agree. Good people, good show. This is all in good fun. But
yeah,
just kick their asses, will you, Webby?
Yes, I will take their asses and I will hand them to them nicely.
Nice. Secret weapon, Maggie Remynse Chou. Remynse Chou. I keep forgetting. Got to add the Chou to that. So
that's right. Actually, we even got a comment here from Kenny Chow.
Oh.
And I think this is in response to Maggie's video. Star, Maggie Remynse Chou. Frowny face.
It takes a little while, but
yeah. You guys are still newlyweds. I'm sure she's just not used to saying the full name yet.
Yep. Soon enough. Nice, man. Anything else you want to talk about today?
One more thing. I just want to say a few more details about the whole Dink for Pink.
Oh yeah.
Actually, well, we're gonna talk about it more on our next episode. But I do just want to say Andrea Coop is hosting the 3rd annual Dink for Pink at the Grand Rapids Racket and Fitness on November 23rd, and it's actually open to the public to spectate. So if you're in the area and you want to check it out, feel free to swing on by, watch us play. You'll be able to see the Webby and Maggie versus Lauren and Kyle match, along with a whole bunch of awesome matches with the Dink for Pink crew. And the event is raising money for the Van Andel Institute Cancer Research, which is a great cause. So if you would like to support the cause, we have a link in the comments down below, and we're also going to post something on the Eddie and Webby channel. So keep an eye open for that. And it's a great cause. So please, if you have the means and you'd like to donate, please do so. That's a great organization funding cancer research. So I feel like nobody can disagree with that being a great way to contribute some money.
That's for sure. And it's a great event. So if you guys have the ability to check it out, definitely check it out.
Yes. Yeah, that's all I've got for today. What about you?
No, that's it. I really just want to be able to say thank you to all 54 of you out there because this was our 54th podcast. So thank you guys.
Yes.
You know who you are. We love you to bits. And don't go anywhere. Thinking Around with Eddie and Webby is coming up right after this. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.